show with restaurant critic and radio host Peter Dills. Peter readily admits to being born into the world of food, as he is the son of noted restaurant critic Elmer Dills. As far back as he can remember, Peter was following his father from restaurant to restaurant, always tasting, always learning about food and discovering new and exciting restaurants and travel destinations. As his food adventure comes full circle, he now stars on radio and television with his popular food and travel show, Dining with Dills, named after his father Elmer. And now, your host, Peter Dills.
All right, everybody, it's Peter Dills. We're at the Boat in the Galley here. It's a sports bar in San Gabriel, California. In fact, it's probably one of my favorite sports bars in all of LA. Huge TVs. If you come in here, you'll see the TVs are every bit as big as the TVs that they have in Vegas. This portion of our show is brought to you by our good friends Tattinger Champagne and also Super Wow Veggie Puffed Chips. We're going to be munching on these during the show. They're available at Sprouts and World Markets. It's Peter Dills. We are with Broderick Turner today. Brad Turner, sports writer for the LA Times, beat writer, columnist, 17 years. I met Brad, about 10 or 11 years. We were at a restaurant, Brad, called the Capitol Grill. Do you remember that day when we were there?
I do, at Beverly Hills. Wasn't it in the Beverly Center?
Yeah, at the old Hard Rock Cafe. I don't know what it is today because they're gone, but I think they're still in Costa Mesa. But anyway, that's where you and I met. We had a good time. Well, we always have a good time. The Langham or anywhere that we're at.
Wherever you take me, Peter Dill, there's a good time to be had.
All right, so Brad, as I said, is you guys probably know who he is. He's the sports writer for the LA Times. Been there for quite a while and seen it all. And we were talking before the show, and he goes, well, Peter, now things have changed, but we're going to go old school on today's show. We're going to talk about the good old days, Brad.
The good old days. Man, you say that, and before I got here to meet you, I got a phone call from one Ron Harper.
Yes.
Who spent a few years winning 2 championships with the Lakers. Ryan and I are now both so old that his son, Dylan Harper, just got picked up. He's going to be drafted in the top 2, maybe top 3 in the NBA draft. I've watched Dylan crawl around the Laker locker room. Now he's a grown-ass man.
Doing it.
About to make big money.
So we're here at the Boat. You know, Juan Arrieta. Juan is the general manager here at the Boat. And Juan was Jerry Buss's personal assistant for 6 years. No, that's the truth. When they were at the Fabulous Forum, Juan drove him around town and did all his dirty work, basically. So he was Jerry Buss's assistant for 6 years. He's not here with us on this podcast, but maybe on the next one. He's got some stories.
Or if he's around Dr. Jerry Buss, I'm sure he does. Peter, let me tell you, I spent some time around Dr. Buss, and there's a great time had by all, even me.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, at all.
I believe in a good time, Brad.
All the time.
So, like I said, 17 years. So let's get right into it. We'll talk about Shaq and Kobe and Ron Harper and Robert Horry a little bit later, but let's talk about now, and then we'll rekindle it. When you land in a city like New York, Chicago, or even Miami, what's the first place you go to? Not the players, but the sports writer. Where is the first place that you go to?
Well, in Miami, I go to a place called Prime 112, but it's also the same place that a lot of the players go to, because it's something you kind of plan in advance. So I have to plan so I can afford to spend my money there. They have some of the greatest steaks, greatest seafood, and great sightings, if you know what I mean.
That's why we're here.
And look, and I've been there once where Drake was there. I did think, why am I in the same restaurant with Drake? How is this happening?
Now, he's from Toronto.
He's from Toronto, but he likes to hang out, likes to party. Not only was he there, but so were the Clippers. I looked up and I saw DeAndre Jordan. Mm-hmm. He wasn't nice enough to send us around the drinks.
Okay.
So that's one place you go to in Miami, because it's a place to be seen.
You know, how many NBA teams are there?
There are 30.
30. So that means there's 28 times that you had the opportunity to be on the road, right?
Yes.
Besides the Clippers and the Lakers. Any food scene, any city that really surprised you? I mean, I get Chicago, I get New York, But was there like a little tiny, like a Toronto or Milwaukee or something like that? You go, when you're in Milwaukee, or was there something like a little hidden gem that you always look forward to going to?
There was. It was Memphis, Tennessee, and it wasn't barbecue.
It wasn't barbecue.
Which you're known for. My coworker Dan Wyke, who covers the Lakers now, he went online and found some place where they had this nice tasting, and it was like a 5-course meal outside of the city, and it was delicious. It was fun. It was engaging. It had nice wine pairing to go with it. So if you're in Tennessee, you're not thinking about wine.
Yeah.
Maybe beer.
Yeah.
Or some good, strong bourbon.
Yeah.
But this place, I forget the name of it, but it was, we had our barbecue, of course, but that was a shock to me.
2025, these the players have, their personal chefs, nutritionalists. But back in the day, what were some of the go-to post-game spots where maybe you'd run into a player? I think you told me one time in downtown LA, Kobe used to get the helicopter from Newport and land on some hotel.
He would usually land at the Ritz for the Four Seasons.
But there's a bar on the 42nd?
There is a bar up there. I saw him up there a couple of times. Most likely post game, he was generally gone. But you'd go to this place at the Four Seasons, and you walk in, and you would see Charles Barkley, who wasn't playing at the time. But you would see your players from the opposing teams in there because they also wanted something to eat, and the view was amazing. I mean, I could look to the north, and I would know somewhere over there is Pasadena.
Yeah.
Somewhere over there is where I live.
And you were in no hurry to get back.
Not at all.
Okay, so they got their private chefs, nutritionists. Let's fast forward again, let's go back again. Who is the biggest foodie that you traveled with or you've interviewed? I've seen you on TV many times interviewing players, and obviously with the post, and you go into the Clipper practice and go into the Laker practice and all that. But who is the foodie that kind of knew the spots?
I'm going to say two guys: Rick Fox, doing his time with the Lakers, and Lamar Odom.
Lamar Odom.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, Lamar liked to eat. Lamar would tell you, I could eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but I could have a really nice 5-star restaurant meal. And he would, because that was just LO, because he was deep inside a guy from New York City, but also a guy who was making money and enjoying life. He could find some good spots to go to.
There's in all sports there's this thing about the rookie hazing, about carrying the bags and all that stuff, and on TV you see it when they say, okay, Rook, go ahead and pay the bill for everybody, and the rookie's like, wait a minute, that's half my week's salary. But have you ever seen a rookie eyes light up because somebody else actually paid the bill and they didn't have to? Like they got all excited, like, wow, this is the way life's gonna be.
What I really go back to is when I covered the Clippers and Doc Rivers was the coach. Doc loved to eat. Doc went to the best restaurants in every single city. He would tell his players, if you can find me at dinner, I'll pay your meals.
Didn't tell them where they were going.
He wouldn't tell them where he was going. But imagine you got guys like Chris Paul and Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan and Jamal Crawford and even J.J. Redick. These guys are making millions, but they were trying to find where Doc ate. And when they did, they would yell across the room, Doc, we're here. And he'd shake his head and go, damn.
They found me.
They found me.
I've heard, you and I, like I said, we've been friends for a long time. I've heard many, many stories, and some stories that you probably can't repeat here on our Peter Dills podcast. By the way, if you like the podcast, if you're listening on SoundCloud or iTunes, there's a comment section. Go ahead and tell us what you think, and you can even tell a friend. But was there anything even that you witnessed, somebody ordered a bottle of Screaming Eagle, $3,000, okay, but something so over the top that even Broderick Turner was impressed?
I can't say for sure. I just know when the Lakers won their championships, the great Dr. Jerry Buss made sure these guys party like rock stars, which they really were.
Yeah. He
was someone that didn't mind spending money because, look, they were champions of the world.
Now,
so why not?
I didn't write this down. It just occurred to me, though. because you've mentioned Dr. Buss a few times, and it's all been positive. I don't want to get you in trouble, but is there any difference that you notice between Jeannie Buss and Dr. Buss, meaning the attitude towards the players or attitude toward the eating and drinking and partying and women?
No, I would say that Jeannie learned from her dad, and which is number one, making sure you take care of the players.
Boys will be boys.
And that's,
men will be men.
Look, that's understood.
Yeah.
I mean, so she has her own way of doing things, but she knows that the players are the ones that make the team go round. They are a major part of the brand. She understands that. Okay. And she wants to make sure that they enjoy themselves and that they love being Lakers.
Yeah.
There's so many former Lakers right now that are working for the team in some capacity. Whether it's Michael Thompson doing radio, Robert Broderick doing TV, these guys, Brian's. I mean, you have guys just out there working hard because they're former Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, you've got 5 or 6 guys that you talk about often that are probably your close friends, but back the legends like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the Shaq, Kobe.
Yeah.
Do you ever actually sat down with those guys and had dinner, or is it kind of like mostly, hey Kobe, how you doing?
I've had dinners, really good dinners, at Shaquille's house, especially for New Year's Eve, because he would say to you, "Yo, bro, what are you doing New Year's Eve?" No plans. You should come at my house. Be safe. And so you would go to his house, and the meals would be eat. I mean, it's like going to a 5-star restaurant. He had everything laid out. Food was delicious. Alcohol was really good, but he made sure you were careful because he didn't drink. And he wanted to make sure that you were not driving home drunk.
Because he has so many rooms, he didn't even know how many rooms he has.
Well, he did not know.
So I watch all these things on Instagram about Michael Jordan and all these all-time greats about who is the cheapest guy, but without naming names, have you ever witnessed something like a guy at a basketball player that makes $8-9 million a year, and then he gets a bill for a beer that's like $9, and he goes, "What, $9?" I mean, he was he's shocked at any bill. Not that he expected anything free.
Yes, there've been young guys who were still making pretty good money that couldn't understand why they had to pay a tip.
Oh yeah,
and it's because it's part of their salary, and because you got good service.
Yeah. So
take care of the people. Take care of them, they'll take care of you.
Yeah, I had a producer like that. He would go to the Gentlemen's Club when I was at KBC, and he wouldn't understand
the Gentlemen's Club
why he would have to tip. Like, you got to tip. You got to give him $1.
You got to tip.
You got to give him $1 for a beer. All right. Phil Jackson. One of the greatest coaches for the Lakers. And he is a vegan. True?
Well, that's a good question because I had dinner with him last month. And I don't recall
what he ate.
I just recall that my coworker and I, Mike Broderick, we ate well. I know he doesn't drink wine anymore, which is sad for him and good for us because Mike and I split the bottle of wine together.
We're talking to Broderick Turner. He is the beat writer, columnist for the LA Times. You can read him online or pick up a paper. Actually, the paper is $3.25 now. Speaking of...
Wow.
Yeah.
Please pick it up. Thank you. That's how I pay my bills.
Best city... rapid fire, Brad.
Okay.
Best city for a steak.
Oklahoma City.
Best late night meal after a game.
New York City.
Beer and wings or wine and fine dining?
Wine and fine dining.
Ever had the expensive meal that you were embarrassed to get reimbursed about?
I was not embarrassed because if I expensed a meal like that, I think I deserved it.
Best strip bars in Canada or the United States? I think you told me Toronto. You told me one time.
Toronto has some amazing ones.
Bet
not that I've been there very often.
I think you told me bet the home team when they're playing on the road in Toronto. If you had to recommend just one place for a non-LA sports writer, where are you sending them?
I'm going to send them to Petros in Manhattan Beach.
Okay.
Great Greek food.
Yeah.
Outstanding atmosphere. The owner is an amazing man. The services there are great. Petros would be my place.
Petros in Manhattan Beach.
Manhattan Beach.
All right, again, that's it. Thanks for doing this for us, Brad. Thank you for doing the podcast, everybody. Remember, if you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, or just make a comment, like it, and then also if you're on Twitter, follow Broderick Turner, Brad Turner, BT Turner. What is it?
It's BA_Turner.
Yeah, and you'll be able to listen to the podcast on Brad's Twitter. It's Peter Dills. Just quickly, after this, we're going to listen to all the sponsors that made the show possible. Brad, thank you.
Peter, my pleasure. Thank you for having me, man.
As promised, here are the sponsors of today's show, today's podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Baja Ranch Markets, Pasadena, Monrovia. Man, if you're looking for some ripe avocados or a deal on navel oranges, Baja Ranch. Domenico Steakhouse, right there in Monrovia. Half price prime steaks. Great deal. Super Wow, Super Chips, now available at Sprouts and Cost Plus World Markets. West Coast Philly cheesesteak, Little Provence is in Arcadia. I discovered them. Dynamite French food. Lord Empanada, the pride of Monrovia. Come on in, get yourself a empanada. Say hi to Ryan. And then Sierra Madre, of course. We've got Casa del Rey, one of the best margaritas and tacos north of the 210 freeway. And finally, Tattinger Champagne. We've got FIFA soccer coming to the Rose Bowl. Get yourself a bottle of Tattinger Champagne available at Vaughn's in Pasadena.